Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Ocean Talks. My name is Ocean, and I love to talk. In today's episode, we will look at both semifinals of the Eurovision Song Contest 2025 and figure out who will qualify and who won't. As a general disclaimer, this prediction is by any means not definite, as we can only really tell who will qualify after we've seen the rehearsals. A staging can make or break an entry. So I'm not here sitting like, oh my god, what if XYZ fumbles the staging? What if ABC doesn't have good vocals? But oh my god, this and that one could surprise us. This is not what we're here to do. And what I would take instead into consideration are the vocals from the pre parties, as we have there something that we can grab onto. Same as national final performances. I know that doesn't count for every entry, as there are some internal selections, but that helped me a lot to figure out who I think will qualify and who won't. And honestly, this is mostly just based off the songs themselves, fan reception, the odds to a certain degree, and perhaps at some entries, track record of the last years, if any country has momentum, Um, but as I said, mainly the song itself. So before we jump into it, another explanation. I have different categories in which I divided the countries, and they're basically an amount of percentage that I think each country has a chance to make it to the final. And to make it even more simple, it's basically just quarter steps until the 100% qualifying chance. So that means I have 0% as a category, which means dead on arrival. Then we have 25%, which means likely no, but there are still some aspects that make me think, okay, there is a path for you. You're not completely off the board. Then 50% means borderline, and that is on both the qualifying and non-qualifying side. 75% means likely yes, but I have maybe one or two doubts. And then obviously 100% is a lock in, like a given, duh. They're making it. That out of the way, let's start with semifinal one. For reminding everyone, the countries competing in the semifinal are Iceland, Poland, Slovenia, Estonia, Ukraine, Sweden, Portugal, Norway, Belgium, Azerbaijan, San Marino, Albania, the Netherlands, Croatia, and finally Cyprus. Alrighty, I will start off by naming the lock-ins, so the 100% category. So we have them out of the way already. Like, there is really not much to explain. Sweden is literally the favorite to win the entire thing. They're the fan favorite, I think, first place in the my Eurovision scoreboard app. And as of the time of recording this, by a pretty considerable margin, the favorite in the odds. So obviously they're in. Who am I kidding? Sweden is in. Up next, I want to talk about Albania and Poland. And I think they're a lock in because they provide the only female vocalists. And their songs are still distinct from each other, so they won't like steal each other's points like we have with Albania Folktronica, and with Poland we have a whole variety show. And both of the songs are really high quality, so they are for sure in. Um, Ukraine is a lock. You don't have this track record out of nowhere. Ukraine knows how to do Eurovision, and it shows. The song may not be for me personally this year, but I see the quality behind it, and I see that there is a group of viewers that will resonate so much with it. Ukraine is in. The Netherlands, I think, is guaranteed as well. It's just a slick, polished package. Claude has charisma. His vocals are great. Netherlands are in. And lastly, I want to talk about, and this might be the most controversial, but hear me out, San Marino. Gabri Ponte is really well known, especially if you are in my age group, like early to mid 20s. Like, this man was our childhood. So there's this nostalgic factor. And also, you have Albania, Spain, Portugal, and especially Italy in the semi-final, and they will reward San Marino richly. Then San Marino, all they need to do is grab some other scraps from countries, like 2 points from there, 3 points from there, and honestly, they're good to go. I'm Again, San Marino might fumble the staging, but again, this is not what this video is about. So, with the information that we have now, I think San Marino is in. So, that being said, let's move on to the 75% categories. So, songs that I think are in, but there might be like one or two ifs. And I want to talk about Estonia, especially. Tommy Cash is a huge name, not only in Estonia, but also beyond. That gives him already a huge push. Furthermore, many will gravitate towards this song. It's silly, it's gimmicky, um, that has its fan base, I guess. Um, and I would have said that it was 100%, but seeing the lack of staging and lack of vocals at Esti Lowell, I just can't say with good conscience that he is a shoe-in regardless, because what happened at Esti Lowell was really miserable, for lack of better word. Like, big name in a gimmicky song can only bring you that far. Um, Anyways, that's 7 countries in already. And I want to keep the 50% countries as last to have the most effective conversation. So let's move on to the 0%. And we have to talk about Slovenia. This song is rather dull, and being sandwiched between Poland and Estonia does not help either. Unless they will do something big with the staging, I feel like the song is just unmemorable to advance in a 100% televoting semifinal. So, as of what we have as information, this is DOA. Like, people are saying that this could be the Dawns of the year, but I know it was different with Dawns. Dawn's song wasn't dated to the extent that this song is dated. Dawn's had something more distinctive about him himself, which made him stand out more. And the track is just more competent and competitive as well. So I really don't see the comparisons here, other than it being a ballad sung by a male solo artist. So, moving on, because that was the only one I have at 0%, moving on to the 25% countries, I have to talk firstly about Croatia. This one can vastly change after rehearsals, but again, this is not what this is about. We are working with what we have now. And it will have a lot of difficulties to qualify concerning Marco's vocals and the empty staging from Dora. Though it was already confirmed, so we know that for a fact that the stage will be vastly different from the Dora staging. Um, so this gives me hope, hence why it's in the 25%, not in the 0%. But still, as of now, really unlikely unless we have more details on how the staging is going to look. And this might be another upset for the fans, but I also have Iceland in the 25% category. They'll open the show and have Poland, and with that Hurricane Justina immediately after. And Iceland will be way more forgettable because of it. Furthermore, they have San Marino and Sweden in the same semifinal, performing later, much later even. And those three countries fish like from the same pond, so to speak. So I'm not optimistic about Iceland this year, sadly. That's 7-3 and 7 in and 3 out, sorry. So let's talk about the rest of the countries, which I gave a 50% chance. To recap, those countries that are still left are Portugal, Norway, Belgium, Azerbaijan, and Cyprus. I want to start with the dark pop boys triplet of Cyprus, Belgium, and Norway. I really don't see us getting all three of them in the final. One tops two is more likely. From those, I think Norway has, as of now, the best chances since it ticks basically every box there is to tick. Kyle is a really charismatic performer and a really solid vocalist. The choreo is there, the dancers are there, and the song is really accessible for a broader audience. So I will put Norway through. I also really think that Belgium will make it. Usually, Belgium sends a strong song which gets then ruined by the stagings. See Senek in 2018 or Lasia Musti. This time, Belgium already has a strong staging, as we've seen in the national final already. So I'm not worried about that department. What makes me worried, and why Belgium is not higher because of that, is its direct competition with Cyprus and Norway. Like, it can go wrong if they all steal from each other the points, but as of now, I stay positive and I also put Belgium through. And then there is Cyprus. And because of what I said before, that I don't think all three dark pop boys will make it, I think Cyprus will be out. To be fair, I even bumped Cyprus a category up after the running order got announced because I had it at 25% before. People speculate that Cyprus will have a show-stopping sensational staging because they got chosen to close the show despite other songs being more suitable to do so. I'm a bit less optimistic than that, while them having an amazing staging planned is definitely a possibility. I think it's just more likely that they have a huge prop on stage, which takes time to bring it on the stage and off the stage. Furthermore, the live vocals of Theo singing Shh aren't the best of what we've heard yet. If I remember correctly, we just have like this one acoustic performance, and the vocals were like, uh. So I'm not convinced at all. And as of now, again, it can change with the rehearsals, but as of now, Cyprus is out. That means we have two countries left to talk about and one spot in the final left. Those countries are again Portugal and Azerbaijan. Let's start with the latter one. Run With You is this polished synth pop song which caters to the Nordic countries, of whom we have 3 out of 5 in the semi-final. But it also has ethnic instrumental breaks, which might turn on countries like Cyprus or Albania. Though Asaf has a unique voice, which personally I absolutely dig, it might turn off the more mainstream audience. So this is like a big con for it. Whereas Portugal has this mellow, laid back song, which is really risky for a 100% televote semi-final. However, their running order spot immediately after Sweden makes it stand out. And Portugal is on their A game when it comes to staging since this decade began. And we've seen that there's an audience for these kind of songs, as we've seen with, for example, Iceland in 2022, for an example. As for now, I'd say that Portugal is in and Azerbaijan is out, honestly. I think Portugal will be the dance of the year, the Marius Bear of the year, if you will. Um, but again, everything can change once we see the rehearsals. To recap, my predictions as of now again are Albania, Belgium, Estonia, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, San Marino, Sweden, and Ukraine. Why did I pronounce it like that? Ukraine. I think they're in. And I think Azerbaijan, Croatia, Cyprus, Iceland, and Slovenia won't make it. Let's move on to semi-final 2. And let's recap again. The countries competing here are Australia, Montenegro, Ireland, Latvia, Armenia, Austria, Greece, Lithuania, Malta, Georgia, Denmark, Czechia, Luxembourg, Israel, Serbia, and Finland. Again, we're starting with the 100% category, the lock-ins, and Israel is in, yada yada. Next, we want to talk about Finland. What can I say? Perfect running order. Erica's home is literally the stage. The song is a masterpiece. No worries here. Finland will most likely win the semi-final, and I'm all here for it. Austria is a favorite to win the entire show, and that means they're in as well. I don't think they'll win the semi-final, but top 3 in the semi-final. Come on. Come on. This is so in. And up next, Malta, which makes me so happy as a Malta defender of the last years to say that Malta is a lock in. The majority of Eurovision fans are queer, and we are the target audience of this song. We see Miriana, we love Miriana, and we love Kant, not serving, Kant. We will unite and easily carry it to the final, no doubts here. And lastly, I also think that Lithuania is a guaranteed qualifier. The song is like no other song in the semi-final, let alone in this competition this year. The closest coming even near to it is Armenia, and they're still totally different in tone. This is post-punk, while Armenia is Imagine Dragon inspired. More on that later, I guess. So just because it stands out, because the vocals are vocaling, the staging, if we just take the Eurovisia LT stage and develop it for the big stage, this is so in. And before other people come like, oh, Norway barely made it last year and came last in the final, Tavo Akis is, as a song, way more accessible than Ylve Ham. So there it is. Lithuania is in. That's 5 in already overall. Moving forward to the 75% category. Again, these are the countries that I'm quite sure that they will make it, but there might be one or two aspects where I think, maybe not. Maybe that's another upset. Firstly, let's talk about Czechia. Adonis has an amazing voice and an impeccable stage presence. Only thing that keeps it out of the 100% category is that some viewers may be thrown off by the dance break. And I think most hardcore Eurovision fans are used of it by now and appreciate it even. But as putting myself in the shoes of someone who will who will listen to the song the first time while watching the semi-final, I don't know, I think some might be thrown off. So down to the 75% category you go, Czechia, but still really, really likely that you make it. Um, Australia is next, and this will qualify. I'm sure about it, but it is not as comfortably as others say. As I personally think it will do similarish to No Roots last year, and Finland barely made it to the final, I think. They had like 16, 17 points more than Australia last year, who was 11th in the semi-final. So pretty close, not gonna lie. Um, yeah. So just because of those similarities, and I think that Australia will do a similar result, I can say that Australia is surefire locked in, safe, close behind, safe, whatever. Um, there are my doubts. And the last country, and this was a toss up between, do I put this country in the 75% or in the 50% category? But I decided to work with the best case scenario here. Let's talk about Greece. Pros. Claudia is an amazing vocalist, and the song is really, really beautiful. Cons. The national final staging. Keeping it as static as it is, we will have a 2018 repeat, and I really don't want this to happen. I think there were like talks of having a unique prop. Until we have more specifics, I can't be more optimistic, sadly. Um, but still, again, I work with the best case scenario here, and that's why Greece is in the 75% category. So that's 8 countries in. Let's move on to the 0% category, and it's no secret that Georgia is dead on arrival. Politics aside, the song is just really not accessible, and while the juries might give it some love if there was still a split voting with only televote, it would be a success if Georgia ends up with double digits as overall points. Moving on to the 25% category, and we sadly, like, it really pains me. We have to talk about Montenegro. Personally, I love Montenegro. I want them to qualify comfortably, but I can't be that optimistic here. And while we're at it, let's include Serbia as well. I think both can will cancel each other out, honestly. So I would be more positive about Montenegro if Serbia did not end up sending a ballot as well. But both having like Balkan ballots, they definitely be splitting their votes, and neither of them will have in the end enough points to qualify. That's what I think will happen. The reasons why I don't have both in the 0% category is for once for Montenegro, Nina is an exceptional performer, and for Serbia, it's the running order. And Prince is also a good vocalist. So there is a path, but most likely not for both of them. Now, here we are again in the 50% category after we have 8 countries in and 3 countries out. Let's recap the countries that are left, which are Ireland, Latvia, Armenia, Denmark, and Luxembourg. Out of all of these, Latvia stands out the most. Their harmonies are on point. I think they will just like copy paste the Supernova staging and performance. So we have basically a cinematic masterpiece on stage, and I'm so excited for that. It really is not the most accessible entry for a 100% televote situation, but I feel like many who are not understanding the song itself will be enchanted by the fairy woods, magical forest vibes and make Latvia qualify. So I think Latvia's in. Armenia. The song as accessibility. The song has, is that a word? Accessibility? I think. Um, because it has this Imagine Dragons vibes. However, the lyrics, they might be turning off some viewers here, similar to Georgia in 2023. And Park's vocals, while better in the pre parties, are still not the best, though his energy is really off the charts. Honestly, at this point with this song, it might be a coin flip, but for now, I say that Armenia is out. That means Ireland, Denmark, and Luxembourg are left for the final spot. And honestly, they are fishing in the same pond in one way or another. Denmark is really reminiscent of the 2010s era of the contest. Ireland serves 90s Eurodance, and Luxembourg references their winning entry in 1965. So the keyword for all three of them, despite different eras, is nostalgia. Out of those three, I feel like Denmark stands out the least, as the other two have more of an identity or specific themes. Sissa said she will make a 180 when it comes to styling and staging, but we don't know in what capacity yet. So for now, I have to say that Denmark is a non-qualifier, sadly, because I really want Denmark in. Now, between Luxembourg and Ireland, Luxembourg is definitely the more unique entry. And seeing their national final production and how they staged last year, we know that they usually allocate a lot of money for Eurovision, so we can expect an expensive staging once again. And Emmy said in an interview that they will keep the heart of the Eurosong performance, but make it bigger for the Eurovision stage. So this is honestly so hard to predict. Luxembourg has the better running order, that's for sure, though they followed by Israel, and Ireland is followed by Latvia and is preceded by Montenegro. So while Luxembourg has the better running order in a vacuum, Ireland has the better environment around them to stand out more. And when it comes to momentum, both have a lot of momentum. Luxembourg, it's their second year back after over 30 years. They did pretty solid last year. Ireland, Bambi Thug, come on. This is so hard. Okay, I have to say it again. This can change after rehearsals. But as of now, I think I'll say that Luxembourg will make it, and sadly, Ireland won't. That's my prediction. It was hard, not gonna lie. Oh my god. So, to recap once again, the 10 countries that I think are in are Australia, Austria, Czechia, Finland, Greece, Israel, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, and Malta. That means my predicted non qualifiers are Armenia, Denmark, Georgia, Ireland, Montenegro, and Serbia. So we're coming to an end here. Keep in mind that these are my predictions and not my wish results, as they look quite different. To make it brief, in case you're interested, in semifinal 1, I'd switch out Estonia, Norway, and Ukraine for Azerbaijan, Croatia, and Iceland. And in semifinal 2, I'd switch out Australia, Israel, and Luxembourg for Denmark, Ireland, and Montenegro. So, that's it for this episode. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me in the comments down below, but as always, keep it respectful. Let's have a nice and welcoming discussion where we exchange our different points of views instead of attacking each other for not having the exact same opinion. That being said, thank you so much for taking your time and listening to this episode. And until the next one, goodbye.